Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook dinner for my in-laws after my husband gave his mom all of my leftovers? I'm 3 months postpartum, but for the most part, it doesn't really affect me. Our daughter is a super easygoing baby, so my healing process was smooth sailing. I've been up and doing my pre-baby routine since maybe a month after I gave birth. With that said, I still get super tired and I still have postpartum anger that randomly spikes whenever my breast milk drops, so maybe I'm being too harsh here. 2 days ago, I made a huge corn chowder. It took me at least 4 hours between prep and cook. I've been craving this since maybe 2 weeks after I gave birth, and though my husband said he would make it for me, I always declined the offer. I wanted to do it myself because, to be blunt, his cooking isn't great. Edible, but not great. So, I wanted to make it and I made it 2 days ago. I made so much the mid-sized stock pot was up to the top. I've been eating it for pretty much every meal, and I wasn't even remotely sick of it. Not that it matters. But anyways, last night I had more of it, and I transferred what was left into a small Tupperware container. I had between 15 to 20 cups left, enough for about 10 bowls. Well, my husband made plans with his parents a few days ago to come over for dinner tonight, and he asked me to make a ham dinner. I don't eat ham but had no problem with this because I had plenty of corn chowder left. My in-laws showed up around 11 a.m. this morning to hang out for the day. I ended up running to the store to get some other stuff I needed to make dinner. Well, when I got back home, my mother-in-law says, "That corn chowder was delicious. You'll have to give me the recipe." I said thanks. I figured she just ate 1 bowl. But when I went into the kitchen to drop off the groceries, the Tupperware holding the corn chowder was empty and in the sink. I checked the fridge to see if it had been moved to a smaller container. Nope, it's gone. They ate all of it. I called my husband into the room and asked him where all my chowder had gone. And he goes, "Oh, sorry. I offered Mom and Dad a bowl of it and my mom polished off the entire thing." I said, "There was easily enough for 10 bowls in there. There's no way she just ate all of it." He just shrugged and said, "No, she really did. Dad only had 1 bowl." So I asked why he didn't stop her, and he said he felt bad because she enjoyed it so much and acted like she was starving. I told him, well, I'm not making dinner tonight. He can make dinner. I told him it was messed up that he would give away that much food, knowing I cooked it specifically because I was craving it and saw me plugging away at it for 2 days. Besides, there's no way that woman's still hungry after all that chowder. He says that he can't make the ham dinner because he'll ruin it. True, but I told him that's not my problem, and to tell his parents that I'm not feeling well and I'm going to go hang out in the baby's nursery because of how upset I am. He says I'm overreacting. Down in the comments, someone made a really good point. Not the a-hole. His family already ate lunch at your house and devoured 10 servings of soup. Why aren't they offering to bring dinner to you? You're the one who just had a baby. Am I the a-hole for forcing my boyfriend to do the dishes? I'm lactose intolerant. Every time I make tacos, my boyfriend always makes jokes about how I'm disrespecting Mexican culture by not having cheese in my tacos. I've told him multiple times I'm not going to give myself the runs just to make him feel better about my friggin' tacos. He's not even Mexican. He's a typical white guy. This came to a head last night when we were having tacos again. I got up to go to the bathroom, and when I came back, I noticed my taco looked tampered with. And lo and behold, when I inspected them, there was cheese buried beneath the other ingredients. I told my boyfriend he was an a-hole and went to bed, leaving him to clean up the kitchen. I still haven't spoken to him all morning, and now he's complaining about how I forced him to do the dishes because normally I do them. Am I the a-hole here? And down in the comments, Cautious Potential 35 replied saying, "Not the a-hole. He tried to make you ill. He should be glad you aren't forcing him to clean the toilet after you accidentally ate cheese." Am I wrong for telling my husband that the only way I'll agree to a paternity test is if he schedules it? I'm 30 years old and I've been married to my husband, who's 36, for 5 years now. I am currently 4 months pregnant. This wasn't a surprise pregnancy. We planned it and actively tried to get pregnant. So, it came out of left field when a few weeks ago, my husband told me he wanted a paternity test. I asked him how or why he thinks I'm cheating on him. He said he didn't think I was. But that makes absolutely no sense. I asked him to explain how this child could not be his if he is the only person I slept with and I didn't cheat on him. He had no answer for that. I was a mess for a few days afterward. Once I calmed down, I told him that if he wanted to get the test, then he could schedule it and tell me where and when to be there. He asked me if I could make the appointment. I told him no. He is the one questioning the paternity, so he can make the appointment. He tried explaining again that he wasn't questioning paternity, he just wants to have reassurance. I told him I don't care anymore about his explanations, but if he wants to have reassurance, he can do the legwork. He asked if I could at least find a number for him to call, and I told him no. I still have no idea why he thinks I'm that kind of person. I haven't done anything to betray his trust. But it has been at least a week, and he hasn't made any appointment, and last time I asked, he told me he was working on it. His sister came over this morning after he left for work and told me that she was told everything and that I need to just put him out of his misery and do the test. I told her I'd take the test, he just had to schedule it. She told me I was being bitchy for not just making the appointment myself. But I'm not the one questioning who the baby's father is. I don't think I should have to make the appointment, but I want to get an impartial opinion before he comes home today. Edit. Thanks everyone. You've given me a lot to think about. I honestly don't think he's cheating or anything. No, I will not end the pregnancy, but I'm now thinking I won't be a stay-at-home mom, like I planned. I'm going to tell him to get the test scheduled, or never bring it up to me again. Am I the a-hole for not having a child until my husband agrees to my fourth requirement? I'm 28 and my husband is 29. We got married 9 years ago, while we were still in college. We never talked about having kids. Our relationship progressed quickly, leaving out many important topics. My husband also never expressed a strong desire to be a father, but I know he likes kids and gets along well with our nieces and nephews. But since last year, he surprised me by saying he wanted to have a child with me. He felt it was time for us to start a family. I was confused because I didn't expect this change of heart from him. I said I needed time to think, and he agreed to give me space. After a lot of reflection, I realized I wasn't entirely against the idea of having a child, but I also wasn't excited about it. I knew having a child would completely change our lives, and I would have to give up many things I value. So, I decided to make a list of 4 conditions that my husband would have to meet before I agreed to get pregnant. I thought it was fair since I would be taking on most of the risk and sacrifice. My conditions were: he would have to undergo a fertility test to ensure he doesn't have any issues that could make conception difficult. He would have to temporarily step back from his company and his brother's business, helping out for the first 2 years, similar to what his brother did when his wife had their first child, occasionally assisting at the company, committing to share the baby's care more than equally without expecting me to do more than him. He would have to accept that I choose the birth method I feel most comfortable with, whether natural, cesarean, or induced. He would have to agree to have a vasectomy after I get pregnant because I don't want more than one child and don't want to use hormonal contraceptive methods. I presented my requirements to my husband. He agreed to the first 3 but is refusing the 4th. I asked for reasons since we wouldn't have any more children after this, but his responses were vague, fearing that something might go wrong. I'm still holding on to these requirements, but I'm also starting to reconsider if he doesn't agree soon. My husband is never jealous and I'm growing resentful. I'm 36 and my husband is 42. We've been married for 12 years and have 3 kids. He proposed 6 months after we got together and told me he knew by the second date. He is indeed very practical and rational. He is also very caring, kind, and supportive. Just a really wonderful partner, except for one thing: he doesn't get jealous, like at all. By that I mean if someone flirts with me, he'll just chuckle and move on, sometimes leaving me to deal with them alone. When his friend's father spent the entire night of his son's wedding hitting on me, he just snorted and said, "What a loser," and moved on. I even had an ex write a poem, post it and tag me, and still he just said, "Wow, cool." And when I said, "How are you not jealous?" he said, "Why would I be? I trust you." Last week, I reached my boiling point. A month ago, there were some workers transferred to our department. Among them was my ex. We broke up amicably, He moved to a different country and we kept very low contact, like a happy birthday text once a year. When I got home, I immediately told my husband and he said cool and then started talking about something else. I snapped. Not my proudest moment, but I said, "Are you serious? I just told you I'm working with the ex I stayed with for years, and you don't care." He said, "What do you want me to say? I know you, and I know you're extremely loyal. I know you'd never cross any boundaries. I completely trust you, so why would I be jealous?" Now, I know I'd never cross any boundaries. We've never had that issue in our relationship. I'm crazy about my husband. He is the one and only, and I've spent my life showing him how much I love him because I really do. But I see being jealous as an expression of love, and him being so cold and indifferent is making me resentful and I hate it. It just feels like he's taking me for granted. I'm hurt, and he's been more affectionate than usual, but I haven't brought up that argument again. How do I navigate these feelings? It seems silly, but I'm hurt. Update. I just had a baby, and someone told me this is important. It might have added to my insecurities. I followed your advice and talked to my husband. I started by apologizing to him, and he said, "It's okay. I just want to understand where this is coming from." So I explained. By jealous, I didn't mean him getting controlling or violent, or even throwing a fit. I meant I wanted him to show he cares enough to have a back-off attitude when someone hits on me in front of him. I took him not caring as him taking me for granted and not loving me or finding me attractive. He was shocked. He laughed and said, "How did you jump from me trusting you to me not loving you?" He then explained his side. He said a lot, but here is the gist. I don't get jealous because I feel it's disrespectful to you. I don't say anything either because I keep thinking you don't need my protection, but I see your point and I will change that. But I'm not jealous because the notion of you betraying me is just so foreign. I know you, and I know how much you love me, and believe me, that isn't something I take for granted. There were many instances that cemented my trust in you. For example, when 1 month after we started dating, I saw you turning down a guy who looked like a movie star, and we hadn't even talked about being exclusive yet. I didn't know he saw that. When you stood by my side when I lost my dad, when you sold the car you loved because I needed an urgent surgery, anytime you initiate intimacy, I'm singing inside. The sweet notes I find randomly in my bag, etc. The point is I feel secure and comfortable. Do you have any idea how rare that is? I work with a lot of guys. I hear horror stories. While there I am, excited to finish so I can go running back home to be with you. I asked him about how he feels when I sometimes get jealous. He just laughed. He said, "I always find it cute that you think I can see and be with someone else. I am all yours. Body, soul, and heart." This man. He then said, "I had an ex who kept on flirting with guys and then eventually cheated. It was nerve-wracking. I was on edge, anxious, and worried. Now I'm at peace. So me trusting you is me loving you and being at peace knowing that we can be an ocean apart, and I know you will respect us. But I can see how you've been not yourself lately, and I'm sorry if I did anything that makes you doubt how much I love you. I'll work on that, I promise." Then he got to the part that I was avoiding. He said given how I was raised, he isn't that surprised I mistook jealousy for love. For context, my parents have been together for years but should have divorced years ago. It's a constant love/hate cycle. He suggested me looking into getting therapy. He called his mom and asked her to take the kids while we went on a date. We had dinner, then ice cream, and when we got home, I was laughing hard at one of his dad jokes and he suddenly hugged me long and said, "Welcome back, love. I missed you." I melted. So now he's sleeping with his head in my lap. I wanted to thank you all for your advice, your kind and even harsh words. I needed them. To be honest, I'm a little scared of therapy because I know how ugly it's going to get, but my family deserve to have the best version of me. So if that means slaying some inner demons, then I'll do it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider helping my channel grow by liking and subscribing. See you in the next one, and have an amazing day.